what if I told you that there was a champion that not only has 9 wins against the top 10 on his own division, but he not only has 9 wins in the top 10, he has 3 wins against the number 1 contender already, and he has 2 wins against the number 2 contender. And on top of that, he has 3 title defenses in a year. Period of a year, the guy has 3 title defenses. And not only that, he got his title from the third guy with most title wins in the division. You would say, what the fuck? Who the fuck is this legend? Who the fuck is this GOAT? Okay, who the fuck is this unknown GOAT? Who the fuck is this genius of the sport? Yeah, this guy exists. His name is Alexandre Pantoja. We be talking about pound for pound news for a long time right now because of the controversy of the top 3 of the pound for pound being Islam Makhachev, Alex Pereira, and John Jones. Because there was a time then that Islam Makhachev actually won against the number 2 and number 1 contender back to back, and he won against the number 1 contender 2 times in a row. So there was a time in history that Islam Makhachev was the undisputed number 1 contender. But right after he did this movements, let's just say, John Jones came back, he won the belt. Now he won against Steve Miocic. Alex Pereira defended his belt 3 times in 5 months. So we had a lot of discussion during those months against who actually deserved to be pound for pound number 1. But I think we gotta look at outside of the pound for pound rankings, because to be honest, I don't think Belal Muhammad does not deserve to be pound for pound number 5. But Alexandre Pantoja is literally pound for pound number 11 right now. The guy with literally 3 title defenses, 3 wins against the number 1 contender who won against the previous champion Davidson Figueiredo. He has 2 wins against the number 2 contender Kai Kara France, who just won in brutal fashion against Steve Ursak with a brutal overhand KO knockout. Even though Kai Kara France is an overhand merchant, is still impressive. So Alexandre Pantoja, he probably has the most impressive wins in his own division. The guy is literally lapping the division. The guy is so impressive, they had to import a different champion for another division because there is no one to fight him anymore. And I also think it's really unfair how everyone is talking about like going for double champ status. We see it now. Islam Makhachev, he probably wants to fight against Arman Tsarukyan, and if the time is right, if Charles Oliveira ends up fighting again, I don't think he should, but if he fights again for a number 1 contender spot against Max Holloway, for example, Islam Makhachev is probably gonna fight the winner of Shavkat Rakhmonov and Belal Muhammad. If Shavkat Rakhmonov wins, he's probably gonna fight that guy. So everyone is talking about like how they wanna get the double champ status, but I don't think there's anyone in the UFC right now that deserves more the double champ status than Alexandre Pantoja. No one is talking about like how he deserves it, but I think it's pretty clear. Like, I literally beat his own division. There's no one for him to beat anymore. Everyone in the top 5 is a rematch. The only guy who it wouldn't be a rematch is the guy who lost to Brandon Royval, which, by the way, Pantoja already won recently and finished the guy. So I think the guy who deserves the most the chance for a double champion status against the guy from the division above, which would be the winner of Umar Nurmagomedov and Merab Dvalishvili, is clearly Alexandre Pantoja. The guy literally cleared the division. He's not being a super dominant champion because he's more like a brawler and a grappler specialist, so all of his fights is like a kind of a slugfest, and he gets beat up a lot until he finds the win. And he won against a controversial decision against Steve Ursak, but still, like, the guy, bro, the last 2 fights of Alexandre Pantoja, for you guys to understand the level of dominance of this guy over his own division, he fought against a number 11 contender at the time, Steve Ursak, because there was no one for him to fight in the top 10 anymore. And then they put a guy that he was not even in the division. There was not even a guy from the division above. Kaya Sakura was a bantamweight. They literally bought the guy from Rising and put him to fight against Alexandre Pantoja because there was no one to fight him. Like, literally no one was able to fight the guy because it would be like a trilogy or like a quadrilogy. So what do you do with a guy like this? I think the only reasonable option is to give him a lot of money so he can go up and fight for the second belt, because I think right now we're having a big ass problem of like, okay, he's gonna fight Brandon Moreno for the 4th time, he's gonna fight Kai Kara France for the 3rd time, he's gonna fight Royval for the 3rd time. Like, what are we gonna do with this guy? The guy is so good that he's being a problem in a division that is not popular. Like, the flyweight division is known to be the last popular division. So I don't know, like, he's such an underrated champion because I think his fights can be really entertaining. Like, he was in a lot of entertaining fights, and the UFC is not even talking about the fact that this guy can go up in a division like Davidson did. When Davidson got up in the division, he put on some great fights. Like, the guy, he has knockout power. He lost right now to Petr Yan, but when guys with such a big name like Aljamain Sterling, Davidson Figueiredo, not big names in sense of like selling stadiums, but like big names in sense of like they have legacies in the sport. When they go up in the division above only has to win because you're literally getting a guy who already made history in the division below. So right now, for example, Davidson Figueiredo lost to Petr Yan. That makes the name of Petr Yan way bigger because you're winning against a guy who was a champion, who had a legacy, and that makes you a bigger name in your own division. Even though the guy was from the division below, right now, Movsar Evloev, he won against Aljamain Sterling. That makes your name way bigger because you win against Aljamain Sterling, the arguable greatest of his own division, the bantamweight division. So I mean, like, if Pantoja goes up in the division and he for example, he loses to the winner of Umar Nurmagomedov and Merab Dvalishvili, that does a lot for the champion of the division above, because you're winning against the guy who basically cleaned the whole division below. So I think that's one of the most rational moves that we could do right now. It would be great for the division above, because if Pantoja wins, he is on a fresh division. He didn't fight against anyone in the division, so he has a lot of fresh matchups. If Pantoja loses, he makes the name of the champion of the division way bigger. So I think right now the only thing that makes sense for Pantoja is actually fighting for the double belt, the double champ status, the double C. What do you guys think? Like, subscribe, see you later.